watching them play. So it, it kind of became, which is what we, started out from the start, was to make this a family affair, make this a family atmosphere, and the support of one another. And then what you end up getting was the Princeton girls, even Coach Phillips. She even came and watched a couple of our games. And we would all come watch them play. And
I was screwed because I was at all of them.
Yeah, right, right.
I was little. I was crazy. My basketball
I know.
I had Dakota West.
Yep.
My nephew. I had Devin over at Withrow. I had Trent over
Woodward.
at Woodward. I had Kelsey and Chelsea at Princeton.
Yeah.
I had you and
Tab.
Didi and everybody down there.
Yeah.
And then I had Whitten Woods on the radar screen. I'm sitting there. I mean, this is ridiculous.
How am I go?
And then I was trying to go see Brandon Hatton over there in Dixie Heights. Never got to see that.
Right.
So
right.
I was just screwed, man.
Right.
This whole year was just. I mean, I had all 6 of those schedules on my visor, so I could just pick and choose what games I wanted to go to.
Yeah. And the interesting thing with that is, I still had to keep my eye up north with my sons at Walsh.
Yeah.
And being able to I only got to 2 of their games, but just trying to get there to be able to see them and support them, and they had a really good year as well. So not refocusing allowed me to relax and allowed me to sit back and enjoy my team, enjoy my players, enjoy the whole process, and even though we still had to do the fundraising, because a lot of people don't realize what we have to do to get what we get. A lot of people look at the uniforms and this, that, and the other. In the school, Mr. Smith, he does as much as the district allows him to do. Heck, man, we out there selling honey buns and flaming hots and sodas, and I mean, pretty much. I mean, we out there after school. We out there after school selling this stuff to be able to pay for kids' shoes. I mean, heck, we still got a balance over. And the good thing is Munoz, and I have to give them some credit, because Anthony Munoz, they have their dealership that they have with the Adidas people, and they've been really, really helpful to us. And I have to give so much thanks to them. And this is why I often, refer people to them. They think about it. They took me, not a major corporation. I'm just a small entity. I told them what I could do and how I would have to pay some things, and they've been cool with that. And we've been able to kind of do all that we needed to do. Mr. Smith has been able to help us out and gave us we couldn't sell in the morning, because we couldn't mess over lunch. Or the breakfast program, couldn't sell at lunch. So he gave us a window to be able to sell after school and be able to take that money and pay for kids' shoes and, pay for trips and, pay for stuff. And, it's hard. It's hard. A lot of people look at the end result, and I'm glad it looks easy. I'm glad it looks good. I'm glad, at the end result. But you think about all the stuff that we've had to get to go through to be able to get to this point. And for us to be able to get to this point and win a state championship and me not lose my mind, really goes back to the coaches helping out, the parents. This has probably been the first year that I've had a parent group. And, Orlando Berry, along with, Dwayne Stanford's mom and Jalen Lowe and Chris Lowe's mom and my wife, they've kind of been able to get together. You know what they did? They came to me and said, all right, the pregame meal, we're taking that out your hands. Because, a lot of people don't realize that first year, pregame meal came out of my pocket. That was $2,100. The pregame meal. Now, mind you, I only get paid, at that time, I was only getting paid like $3,800. So I was paying them to coach, which is, and that's what it is. Because at the end of the day, what was important? The kids having a pregame meal. Heck, we asking them to go to school all day, eat the lunch. It ain't enough for them once they get to the day. Heck, when I went to college and when I was in high school, we had pregame meal, and it was good for us. So we did what we had to do to make sure that they had a pregame meal, and so that they could be okay. But whatever it took. But the parent group this year, they took the pregame meal out my hand, and like I said, it was so many people that came in and said, let's help Coach Mitch and let's help these kids. And it wasn't just me, it was them. And I was glad that they did, and that's what it is, and that's what it's about.
And what's interesting is when you think about the community, and that's been a part of TAB for years now. I never forget when we started working with TAB, and I just remember that those programs, and I just remember that it just went through the whole program.
Right.
It was a football team. I remember when Mike Martin came in. I remember when Coach Craig came in. I remember when he came in. But everybody was on the same page.
Right.
Everybody, I remember when Eric was the AD, and then then Booker was the AD, and I just remember that. Mr. Smith as a principal, and I remember Jack Cassidy being everywhere, and I just remember that. And I remember the day when they started opening up the year, they opened up the computer labs in the school after school. I was like, thank you. Cincinnati Bell has a whole lot more money than we do.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot more money than we do.
Right,
people
right.
were like, well, they're not, then they were like, well, the kids aren't coming to Genesis after school because they have computer labs. I said, that's a good thing. There's no competition for what these kids do.
Right.
I said, I don't care where the kids get the information. I don't care who handies up the computers. Just the computers there.
Yeah.
And so I think that part of it is that one thing that people don't understand is that when you're coaching a inner city school, the challenges that you deal with are completely different than if you're coaching a school that has a solid financial base.
Oh my God.
It's different. And I'm not saying, and I'm not taking away anything from any school, particularly one shout out that I have capitalized here that I've overlooked was LaSalle High School. Yeah. I want to absolutely make sure that we send a huge shout out to the success and the state championship, Division I state championship, LaSalle Lancers.
Right.
I don't want to take that away at all.
Yeah.
But I think that people have to understand that when you're dealing in inner city school systems, that there is a tremendous difference in terms of some of the challenges. When you say a kid's been homeless for 4 to 5 months, he's bouncing around from house to house, friend to friend, relative to relative, hallway to hallway. Fortunate that it's in the summer.
Right.
No consistency around his eating. No consistency. Doesn't know where his next meal's coming from.
Exactly.
And I can relate to that in part, but I was in the suburbs dealing with those issues.
Right.
So I at least had a shelter. I've been on my own since I was 13. There's no mama there. My father passed away, so I was on my own.
Right.
I come home, there was anything to eat. There was nobody there. So there were years that you spent alone.
Right.
But you still had a shelter.
Right.
So you knew that you were at least going to walk in the door.
Right.
Not to know, and the ability to walk in the door adds a different type of pressure and stress to this kid's life.
Oh my gosh.
And coaches, there's some coaches, you hear stories around the country, coaches getting in trouble because they're bringing kids to live with them. Now they think those kids are coming to live with them because it gives them an advantage and a competitive advantage on the court. Not that this kid is homeless.
Right.
So we think, oh my God, you can't bring that kid in because you're only bringing them in because they're great athletes. Well, athletes that are homeless.
And that's the interesting thing because, a lot of people make a big deal about, I guess the comment that Adolphus made. He said, Coach Mitch, he'll feed you. If you need money, he'll give you money. Well, people took that so far out of what it is. They take it. And
they don't understand the basic needs of these kids.
Basic needs of the kid, and heck, are we doing what we need to do to make sure the kid gets to the next day? Yeah, because if a kid was hungry, and this is any kid, I couldn't tell you how many kids in the school come up to me and they know. And here's the interesting thing: the kids at Taft know, if I'm hungry, Coach Mitch got something in that refrigerator for me to eat. If I need 50 cents to get on the bus, I ain't got to be no basketball player. Yeah. Out of the little stuff that we sell, they know that I got 50 cents in there. Absolutely. Here, kid, man, if you need to get on the bus, they know if I need something, Coach Mitch will always, and that's what school is. That's what we are teachers at. That's your mantra. That's what you were called to do. And if you don't do it, I almost look at it as, a sin before God, because you were given the opportunity to give and help the kid. You chose to not help the kid because of your philosophical differences or this. I could care less about that. You could say whatever you want. I will help any kid, any day, anytime, get anywhere they need to get to. I've been cheered for it. I've been there. And if I ain't getting ready to get rich off of this. So, what else is there to do but help people? It don't necessarily have to be it could be anybody. So, that's the thing.
And that's what's lost is, man, people don't understand that what we do, we're called to do.
Yeah.
That, recently I was in a situation and talking to people, I said, it's what I've always been called to do. So as a teacher, there's no get rich. Yeah. When you think about, everything that's going on in nationally, and we can now, that's important, that later show about the unions and the talk on public unions and talk on everything. Teachers and coaches aren't there to get rich at a high school level.
No.
You're not. And so, and particularly in the inner city, when you find yourself having to be this role of a counselor, of a parent, a grandparent, as you said, aunt, uncle, everybody, mother, father, that you have that role that I'm not going to run away from the fact that did you give that kid 50 cents to catch a bus? You damn skippy, I gave that kid 50 cents to catch a bus. And I'm going to give him 50 cents again.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't have any hesitation to feed a kid.
I mean, that's what it is.
And what's about it to that?
And you know what the crazy thing of it is? We in education, we have to be that bridge, that gap between, for the parent. You know, I got a couple of my kids, you know, speaking like the Dolphins' dad works. His dad has a great job. Think about it. If his dad couldn't get to him to give him some money to get gas or give him some money to get a sandwich, if he was at work and couldn't get there, what am I supposed to look at the kid and say, well, don't worry about it. No, here, man, because I know your dad. If he was here, he would do it. He would. So here, I'm on. You know, if any one of my kids, if any kid at like I said at TAP, if they whatever they needed, you just give it to them, because at the end of the day, it's going to help them along the way.
And they're not. And here's the thing that you're transferring is a value of giving.
Yes.
And so if you, it's like it's the same thing. Is that the value of giving is being transferred to these children, these young men, these young women, so they understand that in life there's a responsibility and an expectation of giving. So if you want to enhance the spirit of giving in our country, then it starts by being part of that giving and transferring that value to these young people.
And I tell you one thing that was so impressive to me, that let me know that we were doing it the right way. We're in the parade, and they gave the kids the, holding up the number one finger, and the stuff that they were walking in the parade as the kid, they were walking by the kids on the sideline. They were giving the kids there all the stuff that was given to them, so that the kids would be happy. They were giving the number one thing, and the kids were happy about that. But that let me know of all the giving that we gave them, they understand what it is to give. Even if it wasn't nothing major, but it was something that I'm gonna say, here, I'm gonna give you this. Because I want you to be happy. And that's all it is. That's all we're trying to do.
And I think that, and sometimes we miss that. And I think that because our whole thing is that we look at the abuses that happen in sports, and so we think that it's a slippery slope. But I think that the slippery slope is when we stop a process of what that natural process looks like for my being a coach and interacting with these young people that have needs. And me saying that I'm not providing necessarily all of these kids once, I'm providing for what they need. If a kid needs to be fed, I feed a kid. If a kid needs to get from point A to point B, I provide tokens or transportation for that young person. If a kid needs shoes, I give them shoes. If they need a shirt on the back, I get them a shirt on the back.
That's all it's about.
I don't think that there's a problem with that. And at the point that we begin legislating that and then looking at punitive action against people that provide that, to me, that's the system that's gone wrong. That's too much oversight. That's micromanagement of real life issues. Because you're talking about people who are here who've never lived at a situation and been in these situations. So it's easy for us to say, I mean, we don't have much time left, but I just have to bid in one plug on Ohio State. It's a bunch of crap. It shows that they have a good program. That if you want to talk about Tressel knowing about those kids selling all this stuff, that is a sign of a good program, because your star quarterback shouldn't have to sell Rick. He shouldn't have to sell a jersey. He shouldn't have to worry about selling all the clothes off his back for $4,000 piddly to survive, because kids on scholarship can't get nothing. You can't work a job. So if you come from a poor, if you don't have a family that can provide you all of those essentials, or even the ancillaries, or even going to movies, or going to dinner, or going to do something other than outside of that, then those kids have nothing. So if you have a program where all your kids are selling everything they have off their shoulders, off their back, that means in boosters, you're not doing your job in Columbus. That means your alumni aren't giving enough money. That is a good sign, and nobody's looking at it like that. Because if you look at Cam Newton, he's down there living a life down in Austin.
Oh, he's living the life.
He got a Range Rover, he got a Charger, he got everything down there. He going to Columbus, they ain't got jack. So we know why this SEC does what the SEC does. Because they're paying in the SEC. They're not paying in the Big Ten. They're certainly not paying in Columbus.
Okay. You feel good now? Feel better?
Okay. But as we begin wrapping up, any last shout-outs? We don't have a lot of time. Any last comments you want to make, just briefly?
To kind of piggyback along what you said with LaSalle, I got a lot of friends of mine that are coaches out there, and they all know who they are. Coach Lump, he has been real instrumental in what, we've been able to do you know, Coach Timmons, you know, I coached under him, and I kind of was able to kind of understand how to get things done with him. But and Dan Fleming at LaSalle, he does.